Chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale, Natalie, your true crime addict connoisseur.
We're just two normal girls who are obsessed with dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
And here is your disclaimer, chatters. The following Crime Chat contains adult content and descriptions of potentially violent scenarios today, so your listener discretion is advised.
You've been warned, and before I get into today's Crime Chat, welcome to Season 5. Oh my God. 5 seasons. That's crazy.
I know.
The big
It's
5.
gone by fast.
It has. Feels like just yesterday.
And just think of like all the learning that has taken place in the last 5 years.
We're pros now, but remember in the beginning we were just like baby podcasters?
This is our baby podcast.
Yes.
But we're back, chatters. This season, we are kicking off our season 5 theme, Vanished, with our season premiere today.
I am so excited about this theme that we picked, Vanished. So much in that. Well, before we get into it, Kat, what shenanigans have you been up to?
It's been a while. I feel like we're a little rusty.
We are. And your birthday passed. You took a trip, right?
Yeah. Son came home from his deployment. He came home to California, so I popped over there. And you did an amazing thing for my birthday.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, for an amazing girl, amazing partner.
Best birthday present ever.
Basically, what do you get somebody that has everything? I don't know.
Well, I know exactly, right? So my birthday present, I told my husband, was that I wanted to be there when my son came home from the airport when he landed from his deployment. And I was. So we did that for my birthday.
Yeah.
And you were sneaky, little girl.
Sneaky.
We talked a little bit about towards the end of last season. You said you've been working on it for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So you got in touch with Lucy and Amanda from Wine and Crime. And they each individually put together a video to say happy birthday to me. And I'm just like, I'm still smiling from it because it's so freaking amazing. It's so awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I was on the plane getting ready to come home on my birthday. I did fly home on my birthday. And I called you going, I only have a minute because they're telling us to turn our phones off. We're texting right now. But oh my God, like freaking out. And I did email the Wine and Crime gals and said, thank you. I was just like so excited. And like it makes me all giddy. I feel like such a little fangirl. Yeah,
they're awesome. I mean,
they're so cool.
Yeah, they're amazing. We've been like diehard fans for years. Years.
Well, you were the one that introduced it to me.
Yes, they got me through my divorce.
Yeah.
Talking about it. But when I got divorced, so separated, that's all I did was listen to them. At the time, Kenya was still on. So, that elevator music that they play during the ads, like
the ads,
that was, I would sleep and I would hear that music because I was just always playing. By the way, what is your favorite episode
of theirs?
Like, if you had to pick one.
Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Because they're also good. It's just how they do it and how they present it. And, Kenyon was on it. And I mean, even the three of them together were just like epic. Even with Lucy and Amanda now, it's just, like they got this.
Yeah.
And what I do like now that they're Gossip at the Corpse Cart, the once a month where they talk about like obituaries, crazy headlines, they typically have a guest that does the Coven Confessions. And one of them was from a podcast who coincidentally reached out to us, and we have some things in the works for season 5.
We do.
We got some new things coming, people.
Yes, going to be fun.
Do you have a favorite episode of theirs?
There are 2 stories. Now, there is one of my favorite during their Christmas. Okay, like they have a Christmas episode every year.
Yeah.
And I want to say this is like 3 years old. Amanda did Bruce MacArthur.
Okay.
Which just, she nailed this story. And the way she summed it up at the end, her conclusion, like, gave me chills. I'm like, wow. Like, she just, like, nailed it.
Yeah.
So that's always been my favorite. And then there is an episode, and I cannot find it for the life of me. Okay. Lucy sings a song. The song was from Grease. Rizzo sings the song.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember which song it was. But Lucy sang that song, but she changed the words to be relative to like murder and all this stuff. She has an amazing voice. So she did a great job, but I can't find that episode anymore. I don't know which one it was.
Oh, I think you said, as soon as you said Grease and Rizzo, and I was like, yeah, I think I have heard that one.
Yes.
But yes.
Yeah, she did a great job. Great. I know.
We love you gals.
Yes, we love you guys.
The only really other thing, I haven't really had a chance to knock out any of my novel, but I have been reading, and I'm in the book, American Psycho.
Well, you're not watching the movie? Are you going to watch the movie eventually?
Yes. I want to read the book first.
Okay.
It's horrifying. Yeah. The first person point of view that's presented is probably makes it even more terrifying. Like if it was presented in a third person where you have Patrick Bateman, Patrick this, but it's all I felt, I said, I did.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy shit. And I'm sitting here going, okay, analyzing the story. And I'm a third of the way through. Like I'm not even close to getting to like where the real action is. But I'm analyzing it going, if you think about literary theory, one, think about when the book came out. It was like late 80s, early 90s, but it's about the 80s. So you have an era. And then you've got feminism, you've got Marxism, you've got psychoanalytical theories. There's just like so much in there. Wow. Wow.
Question. I've never read the book, but did they base the movie from that book?
Yes.
So you're going to watch the movie and see if they did a good job.
Yes, I'm going to read the book first and then watch it. Although I will say, when I'm picturing, like when I'm reading the story, I am picturing Christian Bale. Like I
he
can't
did an
help
amazing
it.
job. Yeah, it's like you can't. What's the movie? Darkly Dreaming Dexter. Like you can't read that without thinking of Dexter Morgan, the actor that played Michael C. something. Hall? Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, absolutely. So. And really, that's about it. I got a break from school, from teaching and being in school for the next couple months, and I'm stoked. Got a cruise coming up.
Nice, very nice.
Yay. And actually being on a cruise and taking it as a vacation and not taking school with me. What?
Good for you. You deserve it. Good.
So yeah, super excited. But what about you? What are your shenanigans?
Other than recovering from whiplash, I did try. I tried to watch the Netflix series Monster. They have their new, which is based on Ed Gein this time.
Yes.
I turned it off.
Why?
I watched the first episode. Then I'm like, all right, they're just getting started. So let me go into the second episode. Yeah. I had to turn it off. It was that bad.
It was bad?
It was terrible. It was bad.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I'm not saying that guy, the actor, Henson, what's his name?
Oh, Charlie,
the Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
The hot guy.
Yeah.
Hammond?
Charlie Hunnam. Hunnam. Yes, Charlie Hunnam.
So he looked pretty good. Like the way they had him, like he definitely fit the role physically. Although I don't think Ed Gein would even he did talk about like how he had to get into the role and lose all this weight and stuff like that. Even with him with 30 pounds, he still has a hot body. He's a hot man. I'm sure Ed Gein did not look like that naked, but the way his voice, when he would speak like Ed Gein. So I'm assuming Ed Gein, I've never heard his voice, but apparently he sounded very meek and he had like this very like, I like talk like this, like that type of voice.
Yeah. Was it too much?
They really didn't nail that.
Yeah.
Like you can nail that. Like, like Sling Blade. Have you ever watched the movie
Billy Bob Thornton, yes.
Oh, yeah. Like he nailed that.
I reckon it got no gas in it.
Oh my God. He freaked me out. That gave me chills, that movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can do it. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
And every time he spoke, it took me out of the Ed Gein fantasy of watching who Ed Gein really was. Like I wanted to be afraid.
Yeah.
The minute he opened his mouth, I was like laughing a little bit. I'm like, he can't sound like that.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. So
that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. It is. But a lot of people are saying that about this.
Okay. They're supposed to be doing Lizzie Borden for the next one.
I know.
And they
That
already
should
have
be
a
good.
cast. So, we'll see.
That should be
You know, I've been so out of touch. Like, I didn't even hear about people were saying, about the Eggine monster one.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing I was going to tell you. So, Watch Your TV, Shane Day and Ryan Bagheera. Told you I subscribe to them. So you get a lot of their extra content and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They recently did for their Ghost Files called Alone Together.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done Ghost Files alone before, where literally it's just them. It'd been Ryan before.
Right.
But they did Alone Together because Shane also stayed in the house. And they were at the Sorrel Weed House in Savannah,
Ooh.
like one of the most haunted places.
Right.
It was a 3-episode series. They had static cams set up around. They had all the equipment and everything. At one point, Shane did leave for a couple of hours and then he came back, but basically did a full 24-hour investigation in this house. Some very interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all 3 episodes and then I watched their live Ghost Files debrief, which is basically where they talk about the evidence they found on it. And it was live because I subscribed to Watcher, not sponsored by Watcher.
Right.
But I was able to go on live.
Mm-hmm.
1, for the first time. I've always missed it or haven't been available to watch it live. But 2, I was able to do a live chat and ask questions.
You did?
Yeah.
And who answered you? Was it Shane?
So what happens is the producer picks which questions from the chat that they're going to ask.
Okay.
And mine was not selected, but that's okay.
Okay.
I will try again. You will hear me.
Okay, so this is where let me give you a little advice. So it's ironic that you say that because last night the creator of We Harvest Shadows was on live on YouTube.
Oh yeah, your game. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the middle of still creating it.
Yeah.
And same thing. He was taking questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in there a question about the game. And there's so many questions about the game. So what I did is FYI, I turned your live onto my family room TV. My entire family is watching you and supporting you right now. So he had no choice but to be like,
okay, note to self.
You got to flip it up. You got to flip it. You got to change the subject completely. Be the weirdo in the group. Yeah.
Right. Although I did make a comment. So this isn't really a question. It was either on their Get Scared podcast that they do or maybe preparing for this Alone Together. They did say, I want to say it was on Get Scared when they were talking about the Alone Together episode series that they were doing. Mm-hmm. Ryan said they were a little disappointed that the Moon River Brewing Company was closed. And I don't know if you remember, that's where I went and did my investigation. And I also found out earlier this year, and very disappointed, that the place is closed. So one of my comments on there was saying, this isn't really a question, but I just want to say, super bummed about Moon River Brewing Company.
Yeah.
I also did an investigation there, had some fun interaction with Toby, the little boy Toby in the basement. And but that also was not read. So I tried, I guess. Anyway.
All right. So are you ready?
Yeah. Should we get into Vanished?
Yeah. As our shoulders are vanishing.
I know. It's so funny.
It's very fitting.
It is fitting. And just as a reminder, our season themes Teddy's trying to get in the picture. He's trying to get his cameo.
Yeah.
Our season themes, you get the full episode as a season premiere and as the season finale. And our themes will continue throughout the season, specifically with bonus episodes. But you do have to be subscribed to Patreon to listen to those bonus episodes in full.
Yeah.
You get a nice welcome for the first one here. So,
all right. To start off our new season, Themes Vanished. Mm-hmm. I decided to do a story. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the story, but it's about the Sodder children.
Yes.
I've never heard of the story before until I started researching Vanished. So many things.
Honestly, I think Ryan and Shane covered that on BuzzFeed when they were on BuzzFeed.
They did? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it sounds familiar and that kind of is ringing a bell for me. Yeah. On their BuzzFeed Unsolved.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, some people come to America chasing a better life. They work hard, they build a home, fill it with love and laughter, until one night everything shatters. Some call it a tragedy, others believe it was something far darker. Mm-hmm. And nearly 80 years later, no one can agree on what really happened. This is one of America's strangest unsolved disappearances. The vanishing of the Sodder children.
The vanishing of the Sodder children. I'm going to snack on some cheese and wine and listen to your story.
Okay, let's get started. Giorgio Sodder was born in 1895 in Italy, a place where the land was rough, life was harder. And at just 13 years old, Giorgio's family made a decision that would change his life. They decided to buy a one-way ticket for him and his brother on a ship bound for New York.
Oh.
That's got to be hard. You know they have a rough life if they're sending their kids off.
Yeah, just the two of them.
Just the two of them. Mm-hmm. He arrived on Ellis Island, but his brother, the minute he stepped off the boat, he was like, no, I'm going back. I miss mommy. So he ended up staying, and he was all by himself at 13 years old.
Dang. Wow, that's rough.
Yeah. He didn't talk much about why his brother left him alone, but I don't know.
So he was 13, so this would have been around World War I era.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it was poverty that made him stay. Maybe it was politics that made him stay. Maybe he was just a boy determined to survive. We don't know, but he is a strong cookie. He also started to go by the name George instead of Giorgio.
Sure.
I guess he Americanized his name, you know.
Yep.
He worked his way south, starting in the coal mines of Pennsylvania, and then down to Smithers, West Virginia, hauling supplies, shoveling coal, and basically doing any job that would pay. George had strong opinions and a fierce work ethic and zero patience for anyone telling him what to do. It's kind of like George already.
Be his own boss.
Yeah. By the 1920s, he built something out of nothing. He owned his own trucking company that hauled coal and dirt to and through the Appalachian Mountains. He was proud, he was stubborn, and he was ambitious. The kind of man who'd fix his truck in the middle of a thunderstorm rather than ask for help.
Yeah.
But there was something he didn't have yet. He didn't have a partner. He didn't have a wife, and he wanted the American dream. Then around 1921, during one of his deliveries, he met her, the one. Sparks flew.
Oh.
Her name was Jeannie Florence Cipriani. She was born in 1899. She was the daughter of Italian immigrants who ran a small grocery store in West Virginia. Being raised by Italian immigrants, Jeannie grew up between two worlds. She understood the old ways of Italy, and she also understood the new rhythms of West Virginia life.
Okay.
She was quiet where George was loud, patient where he was impulsive. She had dark hair, a calm voice, and a reputation of kindness in the Italian neighborhood. They married in 1922, and soon they moved into a small home just outside of Fayetteville, West Virginia. Together, they built a life that looked like the American dream.
Aww.
George ran his trucking company. Jeannie stayed home and tended to the household. They joined the local church. They built friendships within the Italian community, and they raised a bustling family of 10 children.
Good grief, Jenny.
I know. Between 1923 and 1942, the Sodders were busy, filling their home with love, laughter, chores, and chaos, all things that come with lots and lots of babies. Here are their names and the years that they were born. First one, Joe. He was born in 1922. They really got started right away because if he was born in 1922, she had to get married. They got married. She got pregnant immediately.
Yep.
The next one, John, he was born in 1923. George Jr. was born in 1925. Marin was born in 1928. Maurice was born 1931. Then there was Martha Lee, 1933. Then Louis, 1935. Then Jenny Irene, 1937. Betty Dolly, 1940. And then Sylvia in 1942. Now, by the time the last baby was born, Joe, the first baby, was serving in World War II.
I was going to say, that's a 20-year difference, yeah. Oh, wow. And I'm sure he was maybe drafted.
Yeah, wow, though.
Or not. They had a lot of people World War II volunteering as well.
You could go in real young back then, like 16. Well,
I was 17 when I joined.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Were you, at one point, when you're drafted, you could be drafted as low as 15 or 16?
I think it is. No, I think it's 18 now because that's the what's the things the men have to do? The service.
I don't know. But back then, they weren't so picky. World War II, they weren't so picky. So
yeah, it's true. They were taking as many as they could because
yeah,
that
a lot
shit
of
was
people died.
crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So George ran a tight ship. Hard work, respect, and family first. Jeannie made sure no one went hungry and no one felt unloved. The family attended local events, helped their neighbors. They were well liked. Though George was outspoken with his opinions about Benito Mussolini, the Italian fascist dictator. Now, this freaks me out a little bit. He often rubbed people the wrong way, the other Italian immigrants, because apparently they liked Mussolini.
Oh.
And he called Mussolini a fool and a tyrant, but the locals warned him. They were like, you better shut your mouth. Like, they were very aggressive. And this freaks me out because how many like sympathizers came over at that time of Mussolini's, like crazy. And I'm sure the same thing with Hitler. I'm sure sympathizers found their way here.
They did. They hid
Oh
here.
my
It's
God.
people who were on the hunt for men and women in the Nazi regime that were responsible for the murders of the concentration camps and everything. There's a whole list. And that's actually going to be one of my episodes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Down the road this season.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that came to America and they just got, just disappeared.
New name, everything. Oof, it's crazy. Okay, well, by the winter of 1945, the Sodders were a picture of stability, a big, hardworking family living in the post-war American dream. But something dark was creeping around them. A string of small, strange events that no one took seriously enough. A few months before Christmas, a life insurance salesman showed up at the Sodder home. When George refused to buy, the man snapped. He stated, your house is going to go up in smoke and your children are going to be destroyed because of the dirty remarks you've made about Mussolini.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So I guess the secret was out that this guy hated Mussolini and in the Italian community, he had a mark on him.
Yeah.
Now, another time, a man parked near their house watching their children walk home from school. When Jeannie asked what he was doing, he smiled and then drove away. Later, a man inspecting their electrical wiring had warned George that his setup would cause a fire someday. But George had recently upgraded the entire system, so he wasn't concerned. He was like, no, it's not. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So they brushed it off. After all, what could happen to a family as solid as theirs? He had all his ducks in a row. There was nothing wrong, you know?
Yeah.
It was December 24th, 1945, and the Sodder family home glowed with Christmas spirit. Marin, who had been working in a nearby store, brought gifts for the younger siblings, shiny new toys. The children begged their mother to let them stay up and play with the toys, and Jeannie agreed. By 10 p.m., George and Jeannie went to bed. The younger children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jeannie, Irene, and Betty, stayed up playing with their presents.
Okay.
At 12:30 a.m., the phone rang. Jeannie picked it up, and a woman's voice asked for someone that Jeannie didn't know, like some strange name. And Jeannie said that the lady was laughing, and Jeannie also heard strange sounds like glass breaking in the background.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the lady said, wrong number, and then hung up. So before going back to bed, Jeannie noticed that the lights in the house were still on. And this was at 12:30. She shut them off. She even noticed like the curtains was still open, so she closed them. Like you could tell like maybe the kids didn't shut everything down before they went to bed. She felt it was a bit strange because she knows that her children know the rules, like shut the lights off, close the blinds, you know, and that's never happened before. So she just brushed it off and she went back to bed. An hour later, she woke up again, this time to the smell of smoke. It was about 1 a.m. on December 25th, Christmas morning, when the Sodder family home erupted in flames. Jeannie screamed for George, and I'm assuming, although I could not find this information, but I'm assuming they slept in separate bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking,
I mean, they kind of,
the old-fashioned way. They did. I honestly, my grandparents did. You know, like by the time they got to a certain age, like they had their own like separate. They had a situation for themselves.
Yeah.
So he raced down the hallway. Fire was already crawling up the staircase. They grabbed Sylvia and the two older boys, John and George Jr., who were sleeping on the same floor as they were. They were on the first floor. There was it's a 2-floor household. Marin escaped from her room and ran down the hallway to her parents.
Okay.
But the 5 youngest children were in their bedrooms, and they were located on the floor above on the second floor, and they weren't answering. George tried to reach them, screaming, trying to get to the staircase, but the staircase was up in flames. So there was no way of him going up the stairs.
Right.
So he ended up sprinting outside to grab a ladder, his ladder, to find out that the ladder was gone. His ladder was missing. Then he went to his truck, thinking that he can pull his truck up to the second floor window to find out that his truck was also strangely not starting.
Huh.
He tried to draw water from a barrel that was frozen solid because, it was also winter.
Yeah.
Neighbors began to gather outside. The fire department was called, but because of wartime manpower shortages, it took them hours to respond.
Sure.
By dawn, the Sodder family home was nothing but ash. Fire Chief F.J. Morris and the local coroner sifted through the remains. They expected to find bones, even charred ones.
Yeah.
But there was nothing. No remains of Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jeannie, or Betty.
Really?
No. An official explanation was issued a few days later. Faulty wiring. Now, he had his wires fixed, all upgraded.
Right.
The death certificates were signed on December 30th, 1945. But George and Jeannie didn't buy it. They had questions.
Yeah.
1, if the fire was electrical, why had the lights inside the house stayed on while it burned? They weren't blinking. There was no shortage of power.
Okay.
The fire was separate.
Valid question. Yeah.
Yeah. 2, why had the ladder been found thrown down an embankment behind the house? So somebody moved that ladder.
Oh, yeah.
3, why were the phone lines cut and not melted? And 4, why had there been no smell of burning flesh?
Yes. There's a very distinct smell.
Yes. So Jeannie later, to prove this point, she burned animal bones and from the butcher, skin, like pig skin.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
To test this theory. And she said hours later, you still smelled the burning flesh smell. There's no way of getting out of that.
Right.
And then she said, and even 2 hours later of burning, they never fully turned to ash. There was still remains.
Well, I mean, I know. It depends on the actual heat as far as how much would actually, but it would think about a crematorium.
Right.
How hot that has to be. Her being able to recreate this probably wouldn't get to even the temperature that the house was probably in, but it's valid, very valid, the fact with the scent and everything that still lingered. Yeah.
A for effort, it probably wouldn't turn to ash, but you're right, the smell, there is a smell that you can replicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she just said, there were things that didn't add up, and obviously things were not adding up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sabotage. Beastie Boys are screaming in my ear sabotage right now.
I love that song. The Sodder family began their own investigation. They spoke to a bus driver who told them that he had reported to the police that he saw balls of fire thrown at the house the night of the blaze.
What is it called? Molotov cocktails?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Days later, Sylvia found, when they were sifting through the backyard, Sylvia found small dark rubber objects in the yard, and that possibly could have been part of an incendiary grenade or something that,
Yep.
In
Yep.
1949, George brought in a pathologist, Dr. Oscar Hunter, who supervised a new dig on the site. They found vertebrae fragments and they sent it to the Smithsonian Institution for analysis. But it showed that it belonged to a young man 16 through 22 years old and not from the Sodder children.
Because they were younger.
Interesting. Another murder was uncovered, but the bones of their children had never been found in the fire. They weren't there. Every year brought more rumors. A woman claimed to have seen the children that were missing in a car driving during the fire. Another said that she served them at breakfast at a truck stop in Charleston. In 1952, the Sodders erected a giant billboard along Route 16 with the children's photos and a message. What was their fate? $5,000 reward for information. This billboard stayed up for nearly 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
A long time. I mean, it's paying for the advertisement, essentially, but I can't say I wouldn't do the same.
I would do the same. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. It's like that movie, 4 Billboards in Missouri.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
So Jeannie watched over these billboards. She would she built like a garden at the foot of them, and she would tend to the garden. And every day she went and she would wear black because that is the Italian thing.
Yeah.
You wear black. Usually it's when your husband dies. That's it. You're wearing black.
Yeah.
In 1967, a letter arrived at the Sodder home in Central City, Kentucky. Inside was a photograph of a young man, strong jaw, dark hair, eyes like Lewis. Scrolled on the back said, Louis Sodder, I love my brother Frankie, little boys, and then the number, I guess a serial number.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which was like A90132 or 35. Mm-hmm. I guess somebody was messing with her because they took this and they hired a private investigator to see where did this picture come from and who sent it.
Right.
However, the investigator ended up disappearing himself.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. That sounds really familiar now. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. There was no trace of him or the sender. So this just went flat.
Yep.
George died in 1969 and he was still haunted. And Jeannie lived until 1989. To this day, the official record says that the 5 Sodder children died in that fire, but not everyone believes it.
Sure.
I don't know how they can say that if they haven't found any.
There's no evidence
any remains.
Of it. I mean, yeah. There's no evidence of the bodies. There's no evidence.
Right.
There
has to be something.
Yeah.
Even when you cremate somebody, you see there's remains. Yep. They're ash, but there's remains. There's something.
Even if you convict somebody of a murder without a body, there's enough evidence to, a preponderance of evidence or, enough reasonable suspicion that the person did do it.
Right.
I mean, here, there's nothing.
No. The evidence also, it doesn't line up. There were no remains, no melting, no melting of glassware or metals that would occur in a blaze hot enough to incinerate bone. But those things didn't happen. So the bodies should have been there. So some believe that it was an arson or an abduction, possibly a retaliation for George's anti-Mussolini views. Others think that the children were taken by somebody the family knew or that the fire was staged as a cover. No one knows for sure, but in Fayetteville, West Virginia, the ghost of that Christmas Eve still lingers. The Sodder family tragedy became one of America's most enduring mysteries. 5 children vanished into smoke. No bodies, no answers, and nearly 80 years later, the mystery of the Sodder children still unknown. They vanished.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that is my story.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
I know I've heard of the Sodder children. When you said the private investigator also disappeared, also vanished, I was like, yeah. But then there's some of the details in here too where I was like, maybe I don't remember it. So they went somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, another, theory would be they were abducted by aliens. That would explain at least their lack of physical presence, of physical remains in the building. I 100% believe that it was arson.
Yeah, but do you know what rings, what sticks with me is when she received the phone call from that girl, she heard breaking glass in the background. They could have been breaking into the house.
The call would have to come from inside the house.
Call could have
to hear that in the
come from
background.
The call. Oh, that's true. They didn't have.
They didn't have cell phones back then.
That's true. Oh, damn it! You just destroyed my goddamn theory.
What
you and facts.
The part that I was thinking though is if it's breaking glass and stuff, it's like it reminded me of maybe like a payphone at a bar or maybe the bar phone. If you're hearing this loud ruckus and
right.
Or if somebody did in fact see these, what is it? I can't say the word.
Cocktail.
Molotov cocktails. Yeah. Throwing. I mean, those are made out of liquor bottles. Mm-hmm. Maybe they broke some when they were getting prepared and they just were confirming that they were going to be home for the call. That's kind of the first thing I thought of.
Just, I just have a feeling that the children are dead because were killed because they're old enough to want their mother and father. They're old enough to know the situation. It's not like they're babies.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just pick them up and just drop them in another family without them asking. Like they're all old enough.
14, 12, 9, 8, and 5.
Yeah.
Maybe they were supposed to be like held for some kind of ransom or something. But it's just weird that somebody would go to those lengths for political views.
Yeah.
There's got to be some other kind of motive behind it.
Absolutely.
Although the 1940s, that there was a lot of passion in politics and, wartime, and we'll kind of get to a little bit in my story as well, but like a lot of post-war economic issues that just rain down on people. So, yeah.
All right.
Well, that's a great story. Sorry about the Sodder children vanishing. I hate that they vanished.
I know. It's crazy.
But that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're talking about vanishings.
Yes.
So my story actually happened 51 years ago, almost to the day. On the night of November 7th, 1974, a nanny was found brutally murdered and the lady of the house severely attacked. And this was at the home of Lord Lucan, 46 Lower Belgrave Street in London, near Buckingham Palace. Are you familiar?
I am. Isn't there like a really cool documentary on this?
There's a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot. Yeah. So then, 26 years of age, Lady Veronica Bingham, also known as Lady Lucan, bleeding and hysterical, ran to the Plumber's Arms pub nearby yelling, "Help me! Help me! I've just escaped a murderer!" Veronica had severe lacerations to her scalp, a bruised face, and was taken to the hospital. Within a few hours, Veronica told police the murderer was her husband, Lord John Bingham, the 7th Earl of Lucan.
Oh my God.
This sent police on a swift but fruitless search and would spark one of the United Kingdom's most enduring unsolved mysteries. You know the story, though?
I do. I'm not like, I'm going to learn a lot now because I know the story, but I don't know the details.
This story was in The World's Greatest Unsolved Crimes book that was written in like 1984. But I've done obviously some like additional research and stuff to it to get it more up to date. Still unsolved. So who was Lord Lucan? Richard John Bingham. He was born December 18th, 1934 in London as the second child and the eldest son of George Bingham, the 6th Earl of Lucan, who was an Anglo-Irish peer, and his wife, Caitlin Elizabeth Ann Dawson, was the mother. Now, a peer, I had to look this up because I didn't know what it was. A peerage is a form of crown distinction comprising of hereditary and lifetime titled appointments with various ranks from both the constituent part of the legislative process and the British honor system within the framework of the Constitution of the United Kingdom. And that's going to come in to play later in the story, like towards the end. Now, Mom, Caitlin, she developed a blood clot in her lung, which forced her to stay in a nursing home. So John and the other children were cared for by the family's nanny, Lucy Sellers. With World War II approaching, John and his older sister Jane were taken to Wales to live with relatives. The two younger siblings, Sally and Hugh, joined them, and then all of the Lucan, aka Bingham, children moved to Toronto and then to Mount Kisco, New York in Westchester County. Do you know where that is? It's like you got the island. It's on the mainland of New York, but it's like the county that's right there on the Hudson River, I think, is right there.
Well, yeah. Westchester. I know Westchester.
Yeah, so it's in Westchester. They stayed for 5 years with a multi-millionairess, Marcia Brady Tucker, which I thought was funny, Marcia Brady. John was enrolled at the Harvey School and spent summer holidays away from his siblings at summer camp at the Adirondack Mountains. While in the U.S., John and his siblings lived a grandeur life, wanted for nothing. But on their return to England in February 1945, they were faced with the stark realities of a wartime Britain. Later, John would attend the prestigious Eton College, where he developed a taste for gambling. You know of Eton College, right? It's like where all the lordships go.
Yeah.
While in college, he supplemented his income from bookmaking, placing his earnings into a secret bank account, and regularly left the school's grounds to attend horse races, According to his mother, John's academic record was far from creditable. However, in 1953, he undertook the national service requirement and he became a second lieutenant in his father's regiment called the Coldstream Guards.
Is that a little nepotism going on there?
So it's required, right? So like the royalty, it's like a mandatory service, a national service requirement. Yeah. I kind of wish all people did that.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of military discipline is good for you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, a year or two, like at 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Well, John, he did 2 years. So 1953 to 1955, he was stationed mainly in Krefeld, West Germany. And then while there, he became a very keen poker player. Mm-hmm. He left the army and then worked for a London-based merchant bank called William Brandt's Sons and Company. Mm-hmm. In 1960, he met a man named Stephen Raphael, a rich stockbroker who was a skilled backgammon player, and they holidayed together in Bahamas, went water skiing, played golf, backgammon, poker. John became a regular gambler and an early member of John Aspinall's Claremont Gaming Club. This is going to kind of come up later, but it's located in Berkeley Square in London's West End. Even though his losses outnumbered his wins, John left his job at the merchant bank and became a professional gambler.
Wow.
I said gambler. Mm-hmm. He became a professional gambler. He also had a very expensive taste. He raced powerboats. He drove an Aston Martin.
Wow.
Now, John was described by his friends as shy and a taciturn man, but a tall stature. Quote, luxuriant guardsman moustache, and masculine pursuits. His exploits made him very popular. You know, I've seen pictures. You'll see a picture of him, but like, I mean, not bad, but I mean, maybe his personality made up for it. He did have a desire, and it was well known that his goal was to have £2 million in the bank, claiming that motor cars, yachts, expensive holidays, and security for the future would give him and a lot of other people a lot of pleasure.
Oh, boy.
So John met Veronica in 1963. Veronica Mary Duncan was born May 3rd, 1937 in East Sussex, south of London, to parents Major Charles Morehouse Duncan and Thelma Watt. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she and her sister Christina had a somewhat challenging childhood. Veronica's father died in a car accident when she was young, after which the family moved to South Africa. Her mother remarried, and her family returned to England, where her new stepfather became a manager of a hotel in Guildford. So with her sister, Christina, they were both educated at St. Swithin's School in Winchester. She had a talent for art, Veronica did, and she went on to study at art college. The two sisters later shared a flat in London. Veronica started working as a model, then as a secretary, and then, using her artistic skills, a photographic assistant. Her sister Christina, get this, she married a wealthy man named Bill Shand Kidd. Bill Shand Kidd is the half-brother to Peter Shand Kidd, the stepfather of Princess Diana. Diana Spencer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're talking like high society here, right? So with this marriage, Christina's marriage to Bill, this introduced Veronica also to London's high society, and it was at a golf club function in the country that Veronica met John. Now, news of their engagement appeared in the Times, the Daily Telegraph. There was some prominent high society, very few prominent high society people who attended the wedding as well. The engagement was announced October 14th, 1963, and then they were married November 20th, 1963. They honeymooned in Europe, traveling first class on the Orient Express. John, already embattled finances, were given a little bit of a boost by his father, who provided him with a marriage settlement designed to help finance a larger family home, future additions of the, for the Lucan family, like taking care of our family, our line. Okay. We're nobles kind of thing. John repaid some of his creditors and purchased the flat at 46 Lower Belgrave Street, which is where we started our story. Now, 2 months after their wedding, January 21st, 1964, John's father, George, the 6th Earl of Lucan, died of a stroke. Now, in addition to the £250,000 inheritance that John got, he also acquired his father's titles, the Earl of Lucan, Baron Lucan of Castlebar, Baron Bingham of Melcombe Bingham, and Baronet Bingham of Castlebar. And then Veronica became the Countess of Lucan.
Okay.
The couple had 3 children. Lady Frances Bingham was born October 24th, 1964. I guess Lord George Bingham did become the 8th Earl of Lucan, and we'll get to that. He was born September 21st, 1967. And then Lady Camilla Bingham, born June 30th, 1970. So following the birth of the first daughter, Frances, in early 1965, they employed a nanny, Lillian Jenkins, to look after her. And then following the births of George and Camilla, Veronica started to suffer postnatal depression. John became increasingly involved in her mental health and well-being, and in 1971 took her in for treatment at a psychiatric clinic in Hampstead, where she refused to be admitted.
Was she hysterical? Did he say she was hysterical?
She was hysterical. She was,
Back then, you're hysterical.
Yeah, postpartum depression wasn't a thing, right?
No. Mm-mm.
She did refuse to be admitted, and instead she did agree to home visits from a psychiatrist and then was put on some antidepressants. In July 1972, the family holidayed in Monte Carlo, but Veronica quickly returned to England and she left John with their 2 older children. The combined pressures of maintaining their finances, the costs of John's gambling addiction, and Veronica's weakened mental condition took a toll on their marriage. 2 weeks after this Christmas vacation in 1972, John moved onto a small property and the couple officially separated January 1973. John rented an apartment only a few streets away while they were going through their divorce proceedings, and despite an early attempt by Veronica to reconciliate, by this point, John wanted out of the marriage and he just wanted custody of his children. In an effort to demonstrate that Veronica was unfit to be a mother and look after their children, John began to spy on them, and witnesses say his car was regularly seen around the Lower Belgrave Street apartment. And he would later employ private detectives to perform some of the similar tasks. He canvassed the doctors. However, they did tell him his wife was not mad, but she was suffering from depression and anxiety. John would tell his friends that nobody would work for Veronica. She fired their nanny, Lucy Jenkins, who they first hired when Frances was born. She was fired December 1972. Of the series of nannies that were employed in the Lucan house, one of them, 26-year-old Stefania Sawicka, she was told by Veronica that John had hit her with a cane and, on one occasion, had pushed her down the stairs. Veronica feared for her safety and told Stefania not to be surprised if, quote, he kills me one day, end quote.
Oh, my God.
Stefania was with 2 of the children, George and Camilla. She was confronted by John and 2 of the private detectives. They told her that the children were made wards of the court and she must release them to his custody, which she did. The eldest daughter, Frances, was in school, but she would be collected from school later that day. Veronica applied to the court to have the children returned, but concerned about the case's complexity, the judge set a date for a hearing 3 months later in June of 1973.
Oh my God, 3 months before she can get to see her children? Oh.
After this incident, Stefania was let go.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that and then there were no children. So, couldn't employ her.
That's true.
So to defend herself against John's claims about her mental state, Veronica admitted herself to a 4-day stay at the Priory Clinic in Roehampton. While it was acknowledged that she still required some psychiatric support, doctors reported there was no indication that she was mentally ill. John's case depended on Veronica's inability to care for the children, but at the custody hearing, John was instead forced to defend his behavior. Interesting.
Yeah.
Thus began a bitter dispute between the couple and involving many of their friends and Veronica's sister, Christina. John recorded their telephone conversations, and knowing that she was required by the court to have a live-in nanny, John withheld payments to the child care agency. I think he was giving her £40 a month for this, but following a series of temporary nannies, Sandra Rivet started for the Lucan family in 1974. Now, Sandra. She was born Sandra Eleanor Hensby, September 16, 1945, and was the youngest of 3 children. When she was 2, the family moved to Australia, but returned to England in 1955. She was known to be popular, smart, although not smart academically, but just like street smart.
Mm-hmm.
She worked as an apprentice hairdresser and a secretary in Croydon, which is a large town in South London. After her breakup, Sarah admitted herself as a patient at a mental hospital and was treated for depression. She met and became engaged to a man named John, a builder, and then took a job as a nanny in Croydon. But this was for a doctor family. On March 13, 1964, she gave birth to their son, Stephen. But Sandra and John's relationship was already failing. Sandra ended up moving back into the home with her parents, and considering giving Stephen up for adoption because she had no way to care for him, her parents did adopt Stephen in May of 1965. She moved in with her older sister in Portsmouth, where she met Roger Rivett. He was a Royal Navy service member, and then he later worked as a loader for British Road Services. They were married June 10, 1967, and Sandra worked part-time at an orphanage, and then sometime after that, like kind of after a few years, they never had any children themselves, but Roger started to become really suspicious of Sandra while he was away working, doing this road service stuff, and their marriage collapsed. Roger moved in with his parents in May of 1974, and by then Sandra was employed by the Belgravia Domestic Agency and began to work for the Lucans, the lordships. Back to where we started. That's a little bit of background. On the evening of November 7th, 1974, Veronica, Lady Lucan, she was at home with her 3 children when Sandra, who had the evening off to spend time with her boyfriend at that time, unexpectedly showed up at the house around 9 p.m. Sandra adored the children and, from all accounts, was a wonderful nanny. After Veronica put the 2 younger children to bed, Sandra offered to make some tea for Veronica. She accepted. And after about 30 minutes, Sandra hadn't come back yet. Veronica was a little concerned, so she walked downstairs. Apparently, kind of in this flat, the kitchen was downstairs.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, like, basements, right? Mm-hmm. You know how when you're on the outside, you only see maybe like a small window, but it's
like
kind
half window. Yeah.
Half window. Yeah. So you can't see the whole thing, but that's kind of where it was. It was like in the basement, but there was a window. Mm-hmm. So Veronica walked downstairs to the kitchen where she saw a shadowy figure of a man crouched over Sandra, the nanny, and bundling her lifeless body into a canvas sack.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Yes. So Veronica told police that she screamed as soon as she saw this, and the man began to attack her and beat her and telling her to shut up. She said she didn't recognize the man, but she was able to break free after one reportedly biting one of his fingers. Mm-hmm. And then when he threw her face down into the carpet, she turned around and squeezed his testicles so hard that he released his grip on her throat.
Oh, that's good.
Good. Good girl. You go, girl. So with this release, she ran upstairs and she heard what she said was an unmistakable voice. It was her estranged husband, John, calling out for her. Now, as she lay trembling in her bed, within moments after this, her husband, John, appeared, trying to comfort her.
Out of the blue?
Out of the blue. Right.
Wow. Oh.
Well, supposedly, Veronica accused him of being the attacker and everything like that. Supposedly, Veronica told John that she would help him escape, but he needed to stay at the house a few days while she recovered. She's beat up. She's got lacerations on her head. She got beat up pretty good. So John then put the eldest child, Frances, into bed and told Veronica to put towels on the bed before lying on it so it wouldn't stain it. Like, you don't want you to stain the bed. Put some towels down. And then he asked... Yeah, I know, right? And then he asked her if she had any barbiturates. He went into the bathroom to retrieve them and wet a towel to supposedly clean off the blood from Veronica's face. Now, Veronica, realizing at this point, John could not hear her from the bathroom, so she escaped. Veronica ran for help. She went to that Plumber's Arms pub that I mentioned in the beginning, and John fled. As soon as he realized that Veronica was gone, he left. Now, at this point, the children are home by themselves.
Rhea, oh boy.
But around 10:30 p.m., Madeline Foreman, this is a mother of one of their children's school friends, heard a knock at her door. She lived nearby.
Mm-hmm.
She was alone, and she didn't answer. Smart girl.
Mm-hmm.
Not long after that, like really quickly after that, she received an incoherent phone call, like somebody blubbering on the other end, but she's like, and didn't know who it was and hung up. Now, there are some theories that this was John, Lord Lucan, who was the visitor and the caller, because bloodstains were later found on her doorstep. And upon examination, the blood was found to be a type A and type B mixture of the blood groups. I'll kind of get into that here in a minute now. Police immediately began to search for John after hearing this from Veronica at the hospital. So they started, of course, at his flat. They found a shirt and a suit on the bed with a book of Greek shipping billionaires on it. His wallet, car keys, money, driver's license, a handkerchief, and glasses were on the bedside table. His passport was in a drawer, and his blue Mercedes-Benz was parked outside. Now, the engine of the Mercedes-Benz was cold, meaning it hadn't been driven recently, and the battery was actually dead.
Okay.
So within 2 hours of this incident, John had borrowed a car and drove 45 miles to a friend's house, the Maxwell Scotts. He was already there when police started looking for him at his flat. So if you think about like the time frame, Veronica's in the hospital, they're interviewing Veronica.
Yeah.
By the time they go look for John, John's gone.
Okay.
While he was at his friend's house, John told them his own version of the horror of the nanny's murder. John said he was walking to his flat to change clothes for dinner at a gambling club. When he walked past his wife's home, he saw what appeared to be a man attacking Veronica through the blinds of the basement kitchen. He let himself in with his key, rushed down to the kitchen to protect her, slipped on a pool of blood, which spooked the attacker, and the attacker ran off. And he said Veronica was hysterical and accused him of being the attacker. And this is all that he told his friends, the Maxwell Scotts.
Okay. Interesting.
Simultaneously, after looking for John, police also responded to Veronica's home, and that's where they found Sandra's body. They found that the front door was kicked in, but there were no other signs of forced entry. The blood-stained towel that was on the floor of Veronica's bedroom, and then there was also some blood stains at the top of the basement stair.
Okay.
They found blood-stained lead pipe on the floor next to Sandra's body. One of Sandra's arms was protruding from the canvas sack also, so she wasn't fully in the sack, but there was just a pool of blood all the way around. This is an interesting point too, and it'll kind of come up later, but a light at the bottom of the stairs was missing a bulb, but the bulb was found on an adjoining chair, and it was later tested to be operable. So somebody had unscrewed the light bulb to make it dark.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So police also found blood on the leaves in the adjoining backyard garden. The blood on the pipe was a mixture of Veronica type A and Sandra's blood type B. Veronica's hair, not Sandra's, however, was also found on the lead pipe.
Oh, wow. So she definitely got a beating.
Yeah. Police were informed, possibly by John's mother. I'm pretty sure that she had called police after John called her and told her to get the children. Check the children. Did you check the children?
Oh, so the mother had to go into that house with the dead body?
Well,
and the blood everywhere?
She ended up not going in.
Okay.
But she told police that he called and asked her to get the children because there was a quote unquote terrible catastrophe at Veronica's home. And the only thing he said is that he was driving by, not walking like the other, like he told the Maxwell Scotts that he was driving by and he saw Veronica fighting with a man in the basement window, and he entered the house and found Veronica screaming. That's the only thing he told his mother.
Okay.
Around 12:30 a.m., he called his mother again, but this time police officer was at her house. So that's why I'm thinking that he called. She's like, oh no, what has happened? I called the police. A police officer responds. By the time John calls again, the police officer's there.
Yeah.
John did decline, although he was asked to talk to the officer, but he told them that he would call the police department later that morning. Now, even though he denied the accusation, he never spoke to police or anyone else after he left the Maxwell Scott's home. He fled, and Susan Maxwell Scott was the last person to have spoken to Lord Lucan. Susan called police to report that John was there, saying while he was there, he wrote 2 letters, both to his brother-in-law, Bill Shand Kidd, who is a half-brother of Peter, who was the stepfather of Princess Diana, and he mailed them It was really weird. He mailed them to his own home, and Bill went to John's house to retrieve them, but they were addressed to Bill.
Okay.
So when Bill received the letters, he did take them into police, and John had wrote that Veronica hated him and would blame him for the murder and the attack. He asked for the children to be in Bill's care and couldn't bear knowing what Veronica would tell them because she accused him of murder. Now, the other letter that was also to Bill was regarding like financial matters. The car that he borrowed was a 1974 Ford Corsair, and that was found November 10th. So it happened on the evening of November 7th, so 2.5 days later. But it was found abandoned at a port in New Haven, Sussex County, which is about 70 miles south of London, and had regular ferry service to France. In the car, police found a portion of a lead pipe that was covered in surgical tape, and they felt that maybe this part of this pipe was connected to the pipe that was found in the house.
Yeah.
That was found in the trunk, and then also a full bottle of vodka was found in the trunk. While the pipe had no blood on it, there was both type A and type B blood found inside the car, and this was likely a mixture of Veronica and Sandra's blood, and then hair similar to Veronica's was also found in the car.
Mm.
2 witnesses claimed that the car was parked there between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. on the morning of November 8th. So he left the Scotts Maxwell's and took off.
Mm-hmm.
The car belonged to a friend, Michael Stoop, who also received a letter from John saying that he had a traumatic night of unbelievable coincidence, and that was all he said. No details. He asked Michael to tell his children, should Michael see them, to tell them that he knew their father and that their father cared for them and that he only wanted to protect them, his children. Now, the way that it was portrayed, it felt like a suicide note.
Okay.
And police started to search woods, waterways,
Yeah.
and found nothing. Now, while Veronica was in the hospital for her wounds recovering, the children were taken by their aunt, Lady Sarah Gibbs, to her home in Northamptonshire, which is just north of London. And Veronica, by the time she was discharged, there was a hearing that day, and the court confirmed that the children would be returned to her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the continuous, you can think of this like royal stuff in the news, it's going to be all over the place. And it was.
Mm-hmm.
Continuous press intrusions forced Veronica and her children to move to a friend's home in Plymouth, Devon County, which is a county that's like southwest corner in England, right on the shore.
Mm-hmm.
During the investigation, police interviewed Sandra's ex-husband, Roger Rivet. He had an alibi, and he was eliminated as a potential subject, as well as the other men in Sandra's life. She liked men. She liked to date. On November 12th, 5 days after the incident, an arrest warrant for John was distributed across the country and to Interpol. During the investigation, the police interviewed a number of John's aristocratic friends, but none provided any additional leads. They did believe that they were protecting John, as high society tends to do. Now, Susan Maxwell Scott refused to add to her statement, and Lady Osborne, the mother of the Claremont Club owner, John Aspinall, she was asked to help find John's body. She said, quote, "Last I heard of him, he was being fed to the tigers at my son's zoo," end quote.
Did he owe him money or something? What the hell?
No. So John Aspinall was a friend of his.
Okay.
And he belonged to this Claremont Club, this like high society gambling club.
Yeah.
I think that's probably.
Why would he be fed to tigers?
No, it was super like it was just to throw him off. I think it was a way to like deflect. Okay. But the police did search the zoo, as well as 14 other houses and estates, all returning nothing. No body, no nothing.
Mm.
Now, at an inquest into the death of Sandra, this began November 13th, so 6 days later, November 13th, 1974, with further hearings on December 11th, 1974, March 10th, 1975, and a final full inquest on June 16th, 1975. Roger Rivet testified at the full final inquest, saying that he was the one that identified Sandra's body. The pathologist testified, confirming Sandra's cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Veronica testified, and daughter Frances also testified. Frances said that she heard a scream and in a few minutes saw her father and her mother had blood on her face, enter the bedroom. Frances saw her father leave to go to the bathroom and walk downstairs. Susan Maxwell Scott, she did get called to testify, and being the last person to see John alive, and said that when she saw him, he looked disheveled, his hair was ruffled. She repeated her previous statement with that she had told police, but she also said that John was saying that Veronica accused him of hiring a hitman to kill her. Now, the final hearing, June 1975, the coroner presented evidence to the jury where they returned a verdict naming Lord Lucan as the perpetrator and the murderer for killing Sandra. He was the first member of the House of Lords to be named a murderer since 1760, when Lawrence Shirley was hanged for killing his bailiff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also the last person to be ever named a murderer in absentia in England. Shortly after this, English law was changed to indicate suspects were no longer to be named a murderer until they're found, charged, tried, and found guilty under normal criminal procedures. So he was the last person to be named,
oh wow,
essentially convicted without being there,
right?
in absentia. Lord John Bingham vanished. He never used his bank accounts. He never turned himself in. John's disappearance captivated the public's imagination for decades, with alleged sightings reported, like you were saying in your story. There were sightings of him everywhere, from France to Colombia, India, New Zealand, Africa, America. George and his younger sister Camilla were never convinced that their father killed Sandra. Now, many people, including Veronica, believed that John did kill himself. However, Veronica dismissed newspaper claims of sightings, saying that they were nonsense, and reiterated that her husband was not the sort of Englishman to cope abroad. Lord Lucan, a.k.a. Richard John Bingham, was presumed dead in chambers, which means in private, on December 11th, 1992, and legally declared dead October 27th, 1999. John's son George, his heir, his only male heir, was refused to be given his father's title and have a seat at the House of Lords because of this conviction.
Wow. Okay.
But also because even though they declared him dead and he was legally declared dead, nobody ever gave a death certificate.
Oh.
So legally, it couldn't have been passed to him either.
Mm-hmm.
However, following the 2013 Presumption of Death Act that was enacted in England, George was successful in declaring his father officially dead. He received a death certificate February 3rd, 2016. He then inherited his father's title and became the 8th Earl of Lucan. After the murder, Veronica became addicted to antidepressants, and her children were fostered in 1982 to her sister Christina and her husband Bill Shandkids. She was estranged from her children for the rest of her life. Veronica committed suicide September 26, 2017, believing that she had an undiagnosed Parkinson's disease. Mm-hmm. Her children were left out of her will, and her entire estate was donated to charity because of the children's, quote, lack of good manners and having not spoken to them since the 1980s.
Wow.
Now, George apparently also said, like, that's fine. We don't want it. Like, we don't want your money.
Wow.
You know, kind of thing.
Okay.
But despite their differences, the family did pay a warm tribute to Veronica in her passing, saying she was courageous and an unforgettable woman. The investigation into Sandra's death remains open to this day, with John's vanishing, and if he were to be found alive, he would be almost 91 years old, so probably not. Mm-hmm. But it is likely that this story will never have a conclusion and forever vanish.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Poor Sandra. How did she, I mean, did she get tied up into this situation? She seems like an innocent, she had nothing to do with anything.
Because she was looking for work, and by the time her marriage fell apart.
Yeah. Do you think it was her husband though?
No, because it said he had an alibi.
You would think John did this?
You know, I don't know if it got down to that point. He had motive because of the custody over the children.
Yeah. To kill Sandra?
I think what happened is he mistaken Sandra.
Oh.
He thought it was Veronica.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
And so Sandra was innocent in this entire thing.
Yeah.
She did nothing wrong other than going to work on a night that she had off.
Yeah.
You know, she talked to her boyfriend that night. Her boyfriend had something else that was going on or whatever. So that's when she showed back up to the Lucan home. It was like, oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And would you like a spot of tea?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my dear. Would love some tea. And then she like never showed back up. But also interesting that Veronica didn't hear, even though it was downstairs, that she didn't hear an attack happening. It is possible that Sandra was hit so hard the first time that it knocked her out.
Yeah.
And there was no other sound, but still, a pipe hitting a head.
Right.
If you hit it hard enough, you're going to hear something.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of weird.
There's so many things that could be wrong here. There's so many things.
We're thinking high society, royalty.
I'm thinking substance abuse.
A lot of
I'm thinking Veronica may have been popping the pills a little too much, and maybe that's why Sandra stopped by to check on her friend, get her a cup of tea.
Well, I mean,
serve her tea in not her house, in Veronica's house. She's serving somebody tea in their house, which is odd.
Well, she's a live-in nanny. She lives there.
Okay. All right, okay.
So she's a live-in nanny, and it was required by the court for her to have a live-in nanny because of her depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
She could have her kids, but she had to have a live-in nanny. So one thing I did notice is, however odd it is, Veronica's story never changed on what happened. Now, I would think if something was, falsified or maybe elaborated on a little bit,
yeah,
that like she would have told maybe different versions of her story.
Yeah.
And from what I found, that wasn't the case. Like her story was pretty consistent.
Was it?
Throughout.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy story.
I mean, John's story, I was walking by or driving by. There was also a theory that I didn't include in here, but they did look at the window where the basement kitchen is, and you would have to be at a very specific spot to be able to see in.
Mm-hmm. It didn't work.
No, it did not support his story.
Oh boy. So do you know what this story reminds me of? Have you ever seen that movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Gosh, yes, a long time ago.
This kind of reminds me of that. This kind of like he could escape and just become somebody else. I mean, he's probably passed by now, but he did have secret accounts that he was storing money in. Every person
that had a sighting, from the research that I did, it was like almost every one of them turned out to be somebody else. And, this person, that person,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all over. I think he either did it himself or he did hire a hitman and he was coming to look as the hero.
Oh.
Like I scared him off kind of thing.
Right.
Maybe it was the hitman that fucked up and it just assumed there was no other woman in the house because that was Sandra's normal night off.
Right. Oh my God.
And John wouldn't have known that. But he would have known that.
Okay. That's
so
crazy.
I think it was a mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible he hired somebody else, but I do think he was part of it. And then I think he killed himself.
Nobody knows.
Nobody.
Wow.
No, and nobody will ever know.
We'll never know.
That is the elusive Lord Lucan.
It's crazy. That's a great story.
I know it was a little long.
No.
Sorry. It was a lot to it, though.
There is. I totally want to watch the episode again, the documentary, because I totally forgot. It is. I watched that years ago. But yeah, it is a really crazy. That's a great Vanish story.
It is.
Very good. Thank you for that.
And thank you, chatters, for coming back for season 5.
Yes.
We've got a lot of things we mentioned in store for you this season. So hang on to your belt buckles. It's going to be a ride.
Yes. And don't forget, we don't want to leave you hanging, chatters. So for more chilling details and twists in this case and many others, check out After That Crime Chat, available exclusively on our Patreon.
And don't forget to follow us on all of our socials, CrimeChat with Nat and Kat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, Rumble, to see what we got going on.
More chilling content and behind-the-scenes chaos. Become a VIP chatter to our Patreon. You'll unlock bonus episodes, bloopers, exclusive sneak peeks, and free merch. And yes, we've got some criminal goodies in the works. So support the show, fuel your obsession with the weird and the wicked, and join the Crime Chat chatter crew in style.
Yes, and be sure to check out our next episode.
Yes.
It's going to be a surprise for all of us involved.
You don't want to miss it.
We'll see you next time, chatters. Bye.
Bye.